empowering your body are the foundational elements of being a highly paid performer. So we talked about passion, we talked about preparing, we talked about giving our body that power that we can generate. But what is this fourth element? The fourth element, and possibly the most important to use while you are with your customers trying to make sales, is position. Now, this is all about psychology of men, selling, persuasion, and positioning yourself in a way where you maximize all of these elements. You know, I remember my first year of dancing that I really didn't have a clue about these things, and from being thrown into the fire with no guidance, I decided to break down the elements of sales psychology so that I could be of value and fill a need in my club, which was to sell lap dances, VIPs, and make the most money possible. And I made over 200 grand my first year of dancing, and people always ask me, how do you do it? You know, I'd always get that question in my club. How do you go to VIP so quickly? How do you give 13 lap dances in a row and convince a customer to do that? How do you stay in VIP all night without even having to take your clothes off? And many dancers just thought that I had some amazing secret strategy that eluded everyone else. But it's really simple. I've been able to do it because I've positioned myself by learning how men think, what makes them tick, how to create a fantasy, how to be productive, the art of closing a sale, and what men want in, you know, the sales process that will establish and gain their credibility and trust. So, speaking of which, I'm going to share with you the process of closing a deal at the club. How can you get a client to buy that first lap dance or that first VIP? Have you made as much money as you've wanted to at the club? What if there is more? Or maybe closing the deal is so frustrating for you and makes you uncomfortable. Well, why is that? And if you are good at it, how can it be better? I'm sure it has to do with your preparation, your power, and now your position in those situations to gain the upper hand and win. You know, I made more money in the club in 1 week than most dancers did in 1 month. I mean, why? Why? You know, the ability to position yourself has to do with these 3 things that I'm going to go into. First off, it has to do with establishing basic rapport. Now, this is so important because establishing basic rapport, you want your client to feel like you are one of his kind or see eye to eye about things. You know, you want to discover his likes and his dislikes and be able to converse about it. You want to know about your city and who are the major political figures. You want to know about major sports teams because certainly he will be into that. And you want to know about major cities in this country so that if he is from one of them, you know in general what he's talking about. Another interest that men have is cars. Of course, you know, I'm not asking you to go and be a professor on all of this stuff, but just be aware and be able to know just enough to get your client talking and opening up to you, and then you can be that great listener that I know that you are. The second thing that you need, other than rapport, is to be physically attractive. Now, it sounds simple, but this part doesn't matter so much if your personality and, you know, the beer goggles make up for it, but you definitely want to look desirable and sexy, or else your customer may never give you the chance or want to spend that time with you that you need to work on closing that deal. So this goes back to power, you know, and all of the ways that you can invest in getting your body to that top tier status where you will be sought after. That's the number one thing they'll look for first. And the third thing that so many of girls are afraid to do is ask a closing question. You've got to ask a closing question. And then again, so many girls do this much too soon. The timeless phrase, "wanna dance," that should never, ever be in your vocabulary, ever. It should be more like, I'd absolutely love to blow your mind right down and give you the sexiest dance that I can possibly give to you. All this really sounds simple and in so many ways, but how you execute this, however, is the key to your success. Wouldn't it be helpful to know the top ways to tell if your client is even interested in you? The top closing techniques that are proven to work in closing the deal? Even ways to convince your client to buy multiple dances or multiple VIPs. These are all things that I reveal for the first time in Position that will turn you into an amazing saleswoman and boost your profits dramatically at your club.